Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. All praises be to the power of Aim, Isaac, and Jacob, the power of Israel, who's so graciously giving us this Shabbat day, this set apart time for us to come together and worship Him in truth and sincerity. Today we are starting Exodus. All right, Shamawath, the book of Exodus. Okay, so we are going to, we've closed out Genesis, from the beginning, and now we're moving on to Exodus. All right. So those of you that I gave out some tests back already, I have more tests to give back on my on the podium up here, so you'll get your tests during the break time. All right. Remember, those tests are given just to make sure that you're retaining the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Heavenly Father, and for you to know for yourselves, your own due diligence, to know that you are growing in the Spirit and growing in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right. So we're going to be opening up books. All praises be to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. So let's get Colossians 3 verse 17.
So we finished off the book of Genesis. A lot of people say, "Well, I read the whole Bible before."
Mm-hmm.
But as we go through Torah portions from year to year, we really get to understand what we're reading. People said they read the Bible. I read the Bible 2-3 times. They ask a simple question, they can't get it right. You understand? I was in New York, and this woman was in the Metro store. So I came in and she looked at me. She's like, "What's all that on your face?" I said, "It's called a beard." And she's like, "If I woke up my husband had that beard, I'll knock him out," something like that. So I looked at her. I looked at the cat I met. I was like, "Should I cast these pearls of swine?" Sometimes you might exchange words with somebody and think you might win a soul, but this one I was like, "Man, she's far gone."
Yeah.
She's like, "Don't talk to me about my Bible." When I heard that, I was like, "This is a holy roller." You understand? I said I may spend like an hour wasted dialogue. So I said, "Sis, you have a blessed day." Like, "Don't talk about my Bible. You can't tell me nothing about the Bible." Like, it was okay. I said, "If you do anything," I said, it's a badge of honor. It's a righteous thing for a man to wear their beard." She looked at me like I was speaking Greek.
Mm-hmm.
But it's to show you, of course she probably, I guess she said she read the Bible once or twice or so. And they failed, these minute things that are in the scriptures. You understand? But they're so used to listening to what their pastor says, or the pastor says, "Pass the plate around." They know that part. You understand? Because they deal with that prosperity ministry.
Right.
You understand? But when we looking to be prosperous in the spirit. Okay, so that's what's gonna save us in these last days. So we start to get Colossians 3:17. Colossians 3:17. "And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High, the Father, by Him, by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai, one of the Biyat Aman."
All right, hallelujah. So, what does the word Exodus mean? I'm not going to call on you. What does the word Exodus mean?
Don't everybody answer that?
Asha? What does the word Exodus mean? Say it again? Exit. It's not complicated. It's right there in the name. All right? All right? It means to exit. All right? Or departure. To leave. Okay? So the book of Exodus is talking about us departing and leaving. So before we even enter the book of Exodus, understand this is the whole book of Exodus is encompassing us physically leaving and spiritually leaving, right? Amongst the Gentile. Okay? Us spiritually and physically departing from being in the midst of the Gentiles. Okay? As we know today, we are in the midst of the Gentiles. Right? All the nations here in America, come. So what happened in Exodus is that the children of Israel was being separated, set apart. Okay? This was our time to be set apart, to be made holy. That's what the word holy means. It means to be set apart. Okay? The Most High is not an all-encompassing power to bring everybody together. That's something that's taught in the church system, not in the Bible. And you're going to see that without a shadow of a doubt as we go through the words of the Heavenly Father. All right? That he's a power that separates. Okay? Before we get into Exodus, I'm going to read a little bit of history about Exodus. Of course, who's the author of Exodus? Moses, right? That's right. Moses gave us the book of Exodus. All right? The time period of Exodus, right, is 1400s BC. Okay? The 1400s BC is the time of Exodus. Okay? So, when that new brother slid in, all right?
Who said new brothers came?
The time span of Exodus is 431 years, roughly. 400. When you read Exodus, you're reading about something that took place over the process of 400 years. Okay? Keep that in mind as you read through Exodus. The period of time when the arrival of Jacob in Egypt to the construction of the tabernacle in the wilderness is 431 years. So from the time we came into Egypt, we're already in Egypt when we ended Genesis, right? From that time for us getting out of Egypt, 430 years. Okay. What year did the slave trade start in America? Who knows? 1619? August 1619. All right. It's roughly. Granttown, Virginia, roughly 1600s. We'll say 1600s because Esau puts an exact date, but you know he was bringing us over here even before that. Because Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in what year? 1492, right? After he sailed the ocean blue in 1492, he then after began to what? Start the enslaving the natives of the land of Puerto Rico. Okay, so you know it's a rough. So these dates are roughly put in place. Okay, so he started that enslaving. You know, you could actually look up a movie called 1492, and it tells you about that that history of him starting to enslave the natives of the land of Puerto Rico, right? And then moving on to the various lands in that region, then on to America, all right? The North America landmass, right? So, but roughly about 1600, you know, we started, you know, the slave trade. How many years ago was the 1600s from today? Who can do the math? That's right. So we're 400 years at least into our captivity here in America. Okay? And it's something that you have to pay attention to because as you go through the prophecies of the second Exodus, it tells us that it's going to be very similar to the first. Okay, coming out of that captive state, and coming out of that mingled state and being separated once again from these heathens, from these nations. Okay, so I'm gonna read the background of Exodus. It says the second book of the patriarch Exodus is a continuation of the story of the book of Genesis. Only 70 descendants of Jacob journeyed to Egypt. But after increasing abundantly in number, they became oppressed as slaves to the Egyptian leaders who did not remember Joseph, Jacob's son. During the preceding 4 centuries, the people have grown to a nation and some 3 million before their exodus from Egypt begins. So by the time they were leaving Egypt, we went from Jacob and the 70 souls coming into Egypt to about 3 million people. Okay, so we were in Egypt a very long time. That's the point that I'm trying to make you understand. Because sometimes when you read the Bible, because you're reading, you're thinking things are happening fast. History is an overview of time. And situations that happen over time. But understand, we was in Egypt just as long or a little bit longer than we was in America. So this is why you can understand how long we were in Egypt, right? Generations passed while we were in Egypt. And for the first few generations, we were not slaves in Egypt. We didn't come into Egypt as slaves, right? We came into Egypt as what? Sojourners, respected people, a respected family, a loved and endeared family. When Joseph sent for his father and his brothers, they were looked at us as a great people, a great family. They were set on high. They was given Goshen so they could give all their cattle places to graze. So they were welcomed into Egypt in the beginning. Okay, remember that history, right? All right, that's why we have these classes, right? We didn't get to what happened yet. At this point here in Genesis, we're still a respected family in Egypt. Okay? Exodus is going to tell us what happened. Okay? But as we read here, it says that they did not remember Joseph. The new pharaohs that took order didn't remember Joseph. And the great things Joseph did for Egypt. Okay? They didn't care about that. All they saw was these people are growing in number and in might, and they became to be nervous. All right, so let's get Exodus 1:1.
Exodus 1 verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob.
Right.
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
Right, so Joseph was there already. So all the other tribes came to join Joseph, because Joseph was, what was Joseph's position in Egypt? What was he? What was his title? Who remembers? We just had it. I should have put that on the test. Y'all remember? What was his position in Egypt? I'm on. Joseph's position in Egypt. Right. He was second in command over all of Egypt. Right? The word in the scripture they used was govern. Right? He governed Egypt. Right? But he was second in command, only answering to the Pharaoh. He only answered to the top man in Egypt. Everything else, even Pharaoh's household, was in control of Joseph. Right? In so much that even Pharaoh's wife tried to get at Joseph. Right? He was in such control, but he would do no such wicked thing. Read on.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there rose up a new king over Egypt,
right?
Which knew not Joseph.
Right. So now a difference of administration came into Egypt. Joseph done passed away. He lived a long life, all right, full years, and he passed away. All right. Who remembers how old Joseph was? He passed away. 101? 110. Okay. 110. So he passed away, lived a full life, had his children. Who was his two sons? What was the name of Joseph's two sons? Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay. Which then became known as two tribes. Okay. So he lived a full life, died 110, had his sons, and now he's passed on. All right. Read on.
And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Right.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when they have fallen out any war, they join also unto our enemies, right, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
Right. So then this new king over Egypt said, listen, these Hebrews are more than us in population. He began to get nervous. He said, listen, if we get a war with somebody, if they side with our enemy, we finish. We're going to be overthrown. Right? So he said, we got to deal with these people wisely. What do we got to do? We got to oppress these people. All right? They understood that oppression keeps a people down. It stops them from rising, stops them from being valiant and independent. Okay? And put them in servitude. Okay?
But so does also be allies. So why did they choose?
Because they were why didn't they choose to be allies? He said, why didn't they choose to be allies? Well, I'll give you the long answer, the short answer. All right? The short answer is they was wicked. All right? All these nations is wicked. All right? Right? That's the short answer. And the long answer is that that's not the Most High's will for us to be allies. Remember, that whole thinking of us all coming together is something of man. It's not of the Most High God. Right? And we're going to make that abundantly clear as we go through this class. All right? That the Most High is not with the melting pot. He's not with all nations mixing together. We mix together, right? That is part of our punishment to be intermingled with these other nations. Not a part of our blessing. All right? Read.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Right, so the more they afflicted us, the more we multiplied. That sound familiar? They appointed taskmasters over us. What is a taskmaster? What is that? A boss, right? Your employer, right? He's your taskmaster. Why is he a taskmaster? He gives you the things that you need to do for the day, okay? Every day. Okay, so then we had to go to work. That's why they be saying, "Oh, what we need, you know what y'all need? Y'all need more jobs." And a lot of our people they cheer, "Yeah, we need more jobs," not realizing the more jobs. If Esau have it his way, he'd work a 9 to 5, a 5 to 12, and a 12 to 8, and you would never stop working. Because once you work it, you're building his kingdom, right? You might think, well, man, yeah, I'm getting this money. Well, you get this money, what are you going to do with it? You'll give it back to him. You're not going to build your kingdom. You're not going to build your people. You're not trying to build your community. You're not trying to build up your people. You're going to give the money right back to him. So you're going to work all these hours to give the money right back to him. How is this any different? The way we live today. you're going to see all the parallels of the time we're living in to how we lived in Egypt. So he appointed taskmasters over us to afflict us with many burdens. That means to give us lots of work to do. Whether country built, and we built great cities. What does it take to build a city? What do you need to build a city? Come on, somebody tell me what it takes to build a city. You need what? Construction workers, right? You got to build building planners, zoners, streets, right? We live in cities, right? Electricians, right?
Surveyors.
You know, surveyors, that's right. People survey the land. That's your part. You know how it's going, right? It seemed like you were going there already. We know where you're
at. 13. And Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
With what?
With hard bondage.
So now, as they put us to work, this work increasingly became more rigorous and more difficult, right? They went being able to go to work, come home, to go to work and got to stay at work and stay longer. And if they try to leave, they would get ostracized. They would get punished for trying to leave. The piecework became more increased. If you were putting up 2 walls a day, now they want 10 walls a day, right? And you had to fulfill that order. So it became rigorous. The bondage became rougher and tougher on us as a people. This happens over time. That's what I want you to understand. It didn't just happen like this. It happened over time. First they put us to work, then the work increased, it became more rigorous, the hours became longer. Because, you know, we killing ourselves, right? To build these great cities, these great monuments in Egypt. All right, a lot of people look at the construction in Egypt to this day and we're like, how were they able to build these without a crane, without the modern day machinery? You know what I mean? To this day, they go over there and they try to figure that out. They don't realize when you got 2,000 people on a rope, a lot of things can get done. All right, that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of strength. Okay, they knew how to make the masses of people work on these goals of building these things. Right? We're looking at, we go to a job and we got a crew, you know, a couple hundred people, we call that a crew. This was thousands of us working on this one monument, this one pyramid, this one, you know, bridge or city. Thousands of us is working on it at the same time. All right, read.
You see that part said rigor. A lot of times these companies today, they call themselves downsizing.
Right.
So what they do, the person they got rid of, what do? Their duties they gave to you, gave you a new title, and you happy with the title. You know, people like titles. And then they maybe give you 5 cents more an hour. Okay, but that's our hard rigor. You understand? You know, our people, we are, you know, we look at some of these businesses, what's the reason why we can't own our own business? That's showing you that we are under this curse. You see how successful these other nations, they have businesses set up, they employ their own people, they, you know, their children are groomed to do what? To one day own their own businesses, right? Our parents say, well, go to school and get a good job. So this is the continual curse that we're under as a nation. Okay, so the only way we're going to get free is what? To come back to the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. But as we've seen these last days, what? The noose around our neck is getting loose, right? The more of our people that's waking up, coming back to this truth is what? Is crumbling this society. Okay, Esau knows that. That's why they got a lot of money invested in different countries. They got all these underground bunkers. They're getting ready. Okay, you see this war with North Korea is in the horizon. Okay, they actually, I think they talk about Russia wants to go to war with Israel. So all these things is trickling out. The Most High is actually he's bringing this battle, but we got to get ourselves ready. We got to get ourselves ready. Are we ready spiritually to really take on what the Most High is about to bring upon this earth? Your gun is not going to save you. Your bank account is not going to save you. You see, they got these cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoin. They're showing that when American currency falls, what's going to happen? Are we ready for that? A lot of us have become used to going to these fast food restaurants. A lot of us come from the Caribbean island where we used to grow things. Okay, even the Caribbean islands, they don't really grow anymore. They go on the fast food route. So we got to get back to our culture. This is the only thing that's going to save us. All right, so the 14th verse it says, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Mm-hmm. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Sipra, mm-hmm. and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women.
Right? What is a midwife? What is the office of a midwife? What does a midwife do? Deliver the baby. Right? Deliver the baby. All right? That's what a midwife did. They caught the baby, when they delivered it. They went through all the process that it takes to deliver a baby. Today they are, you go to your gynecologist or whatever to do that, but they still have midwives out there, okay, that will come and give you to help you with the process of natural childbirth. Okay,
16, and he said, when ye do the office of a midwife, right, to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, right, if it be a son, right, then ye shall kill him.
You shall do what?
Ye shall kill him.
So why, when it was a son, they wanted him dead? What is it about the son? Man carries the what? The seed, the bloodline. You are seed of your fathers. We are all seed of our fathers. Okay? According to the scriptures. The man carries the bloodline. He carries the seed. Okay? So that tells us that this is who you are offspring of. All right? Like any other fruit or tree or family or animal, the seed reproduces what it is. Right? So if you have an apple seed, no matter where you plant it, you're not going to get oranges. You understand that? You will get nothing but apple. You might get it might be a little different in texture and taste and color because of the earth and the minerals of that earth. Where you plant that seed might change some attributes, but it's still seed of its creator. All right?
They kill him. Child for population, like population.
Right, because they knew the men build the population. The women give forth a child of a man. Two different men, right? But the men was how they were multiplying so fast. So they said, we got to kill that spirit. We got to kill those Hebrews out the land. Okay? Because the Egyptians, if an Egyptian had a child with a Hebrew woman, what would that child be? So they weren't worried about the woman. They were worried about those men. All right?
Also, what was the fear? The fear at this time, because they had the soothsayer of a deliverer. You know what I'm saying? Just like in these days, what they're doing now, they you got the Charlemagne of Gods, all these rappers, they're giving these guys millions of dollars because they understand that what they can't control the younger generation, because while the youth are what? They are our future. Okay? So they understood that there was a deliverer prevent prophecy. See, a lot of stuff that Esau does in this society, they try to prevent prophecy, thinking that they over the Most High. They can stop the program of the Most High. Yes.
Is that pertaining or have any relation to do with what I saw on social media last week about some, which confused me. Mm-hmm. I saw some Asians claiming to be us, and some some Edomite Jewish people accepting them. And I was like, huh? Because that really did confuse me. I know that has nothing to do with what the topic of discussion, but that really did confuse me because I was like, I thought Asian people were mostly Buddhists or atheists. When did they start claiming to be Jews?
Well, a lot of people want to be us in the last days. You understand? But
the thing is the people that are of Esau that are claiming to be us are accepting them. Because one person being interviewed that was supposed to be a rabbi was saying that he sees prophecy being fulfilled. I'm like,
they would accept anybody but the real Jews.
Exactly.
You understand? They can accept the Chinese and Japanese, but they would never accept the real children of the Most High. But it doesn't matter. We don't need a confirmation from them.
Exactly.
You understand? We know who we are.
That's what they accept.
You understand? We don't need them to co-sign our nationality. You understand? So it's gonna come to pass. We just saw where the Arabs sent a direct letter to this pastor, bringing out the fact that these people are imposters. They said that the real Jews are men, women, and children of color. All right, so this truth is coming out on an international level plateau. Okay, so this word is getting to higher levels where we wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't listen to us. You understand? But the Arabs, why all of a sudden now they bring this information out? They knew this years ago. Why? It's convenient for them. You understand? Because Esau wants to move in on their territory, so now they bring this out. Why did they bring it out before? Okay, they have some so-called Arabs that's supposed to be halal and selling pork to our people. I know an Arab guy in New York. They didn't eat pork, but they sold pork to our people. Okay, so these are things. A lot of stuff you're going to hear these last days, but you got to stay in the scriptures. Okay, the Bible, best instructions before leaving earth. Don't care about what they say. If it's not according to this Bible, it's a lie. Okay, the Most High said that His word be true, but what?
Every man a liar.
Every man a liar. Okay, so if they're not coming out the law, statutes, commandments of their book, okay, then they speak a lie. It's not a matter. It's not. Well, you have your truth and I have my truth. There's no such thing as more than one truth. There's only one truth, and everything else is considered a lie. Okay, so how do you know that you're dealing with the truth? That you're in line with the law, statutes, and commandments that are contained in this Bible. That's how you know you're dealing with the truth. Okay, everything else is the will of mankind. All right, so let's read on.
Give me a Song of Solomon 7:1.
7:1.
I mean, Wisdom of Solomon 7:1. Wisdom of Solomon 7:1.
In the Apocrypha is page 61. Wisdom of Solomon 7 verse 1. I myself also am a mortal man, like to all, and the offspring of him that was the first made of the earth.
Read.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months.
Come on.
Being compacted in blood.
Right.
Of the seed of man.
Of the what?
Of the seed of man.
Of the what?
Of the seed of man.
Right. So a child is of the seed of man. In blood of the seed of man. All right. So this is how we reproduce as a nation, of the seed of man. Read on.
And the pleasure that came with sleep.
And the pleasure that came with sleep. What? Intercourse. Read on.
And when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature.
Right.
And the first voice which I uttered was crying, as all others do.
Come on.
I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that with cares. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth.
That's right. Nobody has any other beginning of birth. Everybody was born the same way. Everybody's first sound was crying. Nobody came out the womb talking. All right? Everybody came out crying. Everybody was dealt with cares. Everybody was a baby at one point in time. Every man, woman, and child to walk on this earth. But we all are what? Seed of man. All compacted in our mother's womb. Okay? This is the beginning of man. This is how man reproduces. Okay? All right, that's it on that. So this is why they wanted to kill the male child. Right?
17. But the midwives feared the Most High and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them.
Right, because the people had a rumor. They knew that what? The Most High was with the Hebrews. All right, that was known in Egypt prior to this last administration that rose, this king that rose. Prior to this king raising, they knew that these people were prosperous people because they were coming off of Joseph, what, interpreting the dream and saving Egypt from famine and destruction. So they knew the Most High was with these people. Okay, read on.
But did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive.
Right.
And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women,
right?
But they are lively.
They are what?
They are lively.
Yeah, these Hebrew women don't play. Okay? They ain't like the Egyptian women. They lay down, we could do whatever we want to do to them. These Hebrew women is watching us. He said they're lively. If we try to do something to their child, they might, we'll be killed. They'll kill us. All right, read on.
And are delivered ere come in unto them.
Right, they deliver that baby quick. They deliver that baby, they up and back at it. All right, not like the Egyptian women, they laid out, sleep, knocked out. Baby came, they could do anything they want to do with the baby. Hebrew women weren't like that. All right, read on.
Therefore the Most High dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, and he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Right, so what? Keep the daughters, kill the sons. Cast the sons in the river, drown them, but keep the daughters alive. That's why to this day, don't you see that Esau, you know, in the kingdom we are, he plays towards our women. Okay, our women is something that he uses as a tool against the men of our nation. A lot of our women got to realize that the white man plays a mental game on you. They want you to believe that you don't need a husband. They want you to believe that all you need to do is get this money and live your life, have your career. You don't need to be tied to no man. You don't need to be no thing. Why? That is part of the propaganda of the so-called white man. Okay? He wants to be your husband. Right? What is a husband supposed to be to the wife? Head, and what else? Provider, what else? Protector, right? Yeah, he gave you 911. You ain't asking for. If I got a problem, 911. Right? 119 if you're in Jamaica, right? Right? So he wants to play that role. All right, give me Isaiah 32 and 1. Read this. Let me look at it real quick. What you're going to learn in Exodus is the way you oppress the people is you break down the family structure. Out of that house, and that's the beginning of the destruction of that people and that nation.
Remember they had that movie years back, was it Geraldine?
Yeah, 32 and 1.
When they had the woman and she had a boyfriend and they were the social workers coming over.
And
she had to hide all the stuff that he bought her. And she was getting assistance from the state.
Yeah.
That was Gerald, Claudine.
Claudine.
Yeah. You didn't see that. Movie night. And that new stuff. So you know, these are the things they wanna be your protector, your all in all. Okay. Was that 32:1?
32:1, yeah.
Isaiah 32 verse 1. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment.
Right.
And a man shall be as in hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place.
Right, so what? Kings and princes rule. Are kings and princes men or women? Are kings and princes men or women? I think it's more collective. Maybe somebody thinks a king could be a woman. You heard a lot of things in this country, you know. Kings and princes are men. That's I read from the beginning again.
Isaiah 32, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness.
A king shall reign in righteousness. What does it mean to reign? Have rulership. Right? In righteousness, though. Right? A king shall reign in righteousness. Read on.
And princes shall rule in judgment.
Princes going to rule in judgment. Meaning what? They are going to make the decisions. Okay? The men are going to make the decisions in a righteous kingdom. Everybody understand that? Read.
And a man shall be in hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest.
A man shall be a hiding place. Meaning what? Strength. Right? When you go to hide somewhere, you're going to hide somewhere where you are what? Being what? Protected. A man is supposed to be the protection over his nation, his people. Okay? You can hide behind them. There's nothing wrong. Now, a lot of time in this society, you know, they have this I am woman. Every woman is a Wonder Woman, right? And they want to be in front of the man, right? That spirit is given to our sisters. And when they fall into that spirit, all they end up getting is more heartache and pain. Okay? There's a persona that's pushed out there. We got to be aware of that. See, that's a negative spirit right there. That's a wicked spirit to preach that to our daughters. Right? They used to have in our classroom, those of us that got some age on us, they used to teach home economics. Right? They somewhat started to bring it back a little bit. Right? But I know nowadays I'm afraid for them to teach home economics today. Because, you know, they no longer have the line. It's no longer husband and wife. You know what I mean? In this kingdom. It could be husband and husband. Or wife and wife. Or, you know, this is what they teach it. Mommy, mama, and me. And it's a children's book. This is what they teach the children nowadays. Right? But the original family, the Most High setup was what? You had Adam and Eve, and they gave forth what? They had a child called Cain. And then had another child called Abel. Right? This is family structure. This is how a nation is begun. Okay? And a man has to be that leader, that strength. Right? Read on.
And a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place.
Come on.
As a shadow of a great rock in a weary land.
As a shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Meaning that you're in the desert, the sun is beating you down. That man is supposed to be like the shadow of a large rock. How important would that rock be to you? Extremely important, right? Right? It's not something that, if there was a rock, I would be there, but I don't really need one. Right? It's not that kind of spirit. It's, no, I'm looking for that rock. That rock will save me from this scorching heat that's on my back.
And the eyes of them that see,
right?
And the ears of them shall hearken.
Right, so the eyes that see shall not be dim. Meaning that if you understand this, you're going to be full of light. Eyes are not dim. If you can receive this, then your ears are working correctly. You're in the spirit. If you're struggling with this, then your eyes are still dim. Hearing the Most High. Okay, that's what the scripture is talking about. Us being able to what? Give up our thoughts, our eyes, our mind, and put that mind of Yahweh within us. Okay? We can go back. That's it on that. All right? So this is why they were throwing the men and drowning them in the rivers. Because they were trying to weaken the nation. Because they feared that the nation was growing too strong. And if an enemy attacked them, and these people join with our enemy, we're finished as Egyptians. There's no way we're going to be able to defend ourselves. So let's weaken these people by taking their men away. That's why they're locking our men up in prison for every little thing. Right? That's why they give them records and then they can't get good jobs and then they're weak in their own spirit. And then they have their women beat them further down who say, man, you ain't got no job. You can't do nothing for me. Right? So now they beat further down.
I can do bad by myself.
I can do bad all by myself. Right? And the man not disciplining himself because he's not going in any order of commandment. He's emotional, over emotional, stressed out, walking up and down the street out here, right? What they say, looking for love in all the wrong places. Condition that we see today of our people, they were trying to create in Egypt. Okay, let's read it. Right?
And are delivered midwives come unto them.
Uh-huh.
Therefore the Most High dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty.
Come on.
And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, and he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Right.
Chapter 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi.
Right, so it was a man of Levi, and took a wife of Levi. So he took a wife of his own tribe. Come on.
And the woman conceived and bare a son.
Right.
And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
Right.
And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off, and with what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side.
So she put the son in a bassinet that was made that it can float. That's what the slime and pitch was for. So the bassinet wouldn't sink to the bottom. Okay? And she laid it in the river, and she stood far off to see if somebody would what? Rescue her son. Okay? Read on.
And her maidens walked along by the riverside, and when she saw the ark, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, this is one of the Hebrew children.
Right, so how did she know that was one of the Hebrew children? Right, he was circumcised, because that was given to Abraham. Right? The law of circumcision. So she said, she saw the baby, she said, these are one of the Hebrew children. And she had compassion. The Most High put a compassionate spirit on her towards that child, a motherly spirit towards that child. Okay, read on.
Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son.
Right.
And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him out of the water.
Right, so he said, nurse this child for what process of time? Right? Till he was weaned, exactly. Until he was weaned. So when a child was going through its nursing process, she went and caught the mother of the child. And we bring up this child until he's weaned, until he no longer needs the breast. Right? But she could not produce milk for the child, but she was not pregnant. She had no children. All right? But when he is weaned, bring him back. He reached the age of weaning, which whatever, I know there's some discrepancy with that age. I believe it's about, what, 1? I would say 1.
I don't know, one time I Esau's wicked.
Yeah, Esau 4 years old still.
He's like 7 or 8 or 9 years old. Like, what's going on?
What the hell's going on here? Right? So I don't know what the age of weaning is. That's something that can be debated. Right? You know, I figure when he has a full mouth of teeth, he don't need to be on there no more. That's I speak as a man. You know what I mean? I don't have scripture to tell me what the age of weaning is. And just as a man, I say, man, this dude got a full mouth of teeth. You know what I mean? So
You ready for some lamb?
you know what I'm saying? It's an indication that he can eat now. But whatever. You know what I mean? So all right, I would need to get instruction on that. When is the true age of weaning? But this is what she did. She weaned the child, brought the child back when he could receive food. Okay? Read on.
And it came to pass in those days that Moses was grown, and he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew.
So now we look and remember, these are dispensations of time that pass in here. A lot of time is passing here. You know, we just read him within 2 verses, he was a baby, right? Got nursed, weaned, grew up. Now he's going out there to look upon his people. So he done grew up. So we're looking at 30 years. In 2 verses, 30 years passed. Okay? He's a grown man now. Going out to see what's going on with his people. All right? Maybe 20-something years. Maybe not 30 years, but 20-something years passed. Okay? In 2 verses. Right? Read on.
And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
Right, so what? He saw an Egyptian being unjust to one of the Hebrews. And it hurt him to the point where he got angry and went and slew that Egyptian for what he did. All right? So what he saw was an unjust act. I know you've many times seen things that would anger you to that point. You know what I mean? Especially how these police deal with our people. You know what I mean? And you want to go there and take care of that business, right? But we know we can't do that in this kingdom. You know what I mean? Right?
Okay, so then these verses tell us, well, leading up to him killing this Egyptian, he already knew he was Israelite.
No,
he didn't?
No, he didn't know yet. He was looking upon his brethren. I mean that the narrator's letting us know that he's looking at the children of Israel because he really was a Hebrew. All right. So he was still in Pharaoh's house at this point. All right. He just saw something that was unjust. So we ran to get involved with that. You know what I mean? All right.
But even though he was raised as an Egyptian, you understand, he still had a righteous spirit.
Right.
You understand? You can judge a man being a righteous, know that, listen, you know that's wrong because this is within your spirit. Anybody see that movie, Detroit? Okay, there was a part in there when they had the riots. When you saw when they was in that hotel and the police detained everybody, they said it was some sniper. Right. And remember they lit the cat's out. The last brother, they said, listen, did you see anything here? Now the other 2 cats ran out, they let them go. But this cat said, no, you killed him. You killed the brother. He could have just said, you know what, I don't see anything here, just let me go. But he ended up they killed him. You understand? He could have just ran out there and said, no, I don't see no dead body down there.
Right.
Because they lit 2 cats out already. They said, no, I don't see nothing. You ain't do nothing wrong. They let them go. But the last cat, they put him like, listen, did you see anything here? He could have said, no, I don't see nothing. Just let me go. He said, no, you killed that brother. You understand? So some people, putting their own life in jeopardy are going to stand up for righteousness.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's going to be a lot of our people that, regardless, they're not fearful of their life when it comes to righteousness' sake. Give me that Psalms 94:16. Some brothers, we do street ministry a lot of times. Our own people come out there and threaten us. And well, what about the white man? They care about the other nations. They don't care about their own people. Read that.
Psalm 94, verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers?
Well, so that's a question. Okay, who's going to rise up in these last days, okay, about the evil and wickedness that's being done to our people? Okay, because we're putting ourselves at risk, okay, to stand up for our people. A lot of people just wait to go along with what's going on in society. Read that again.
Psalm 94, verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?
Right, and workers of iniquity. Okay, when Esau puts out mommy, mama, and me, okay, because back in the day, this thing was in the closet. You know, I'm in Brooklyn. You know, they walking down the block, holding hands, kissing each other, romancing. You know, back in the day, you get a bottle thrown at you, maybe stabbed up. I was watching a video the other day in Jamaica. They put this homo on fire. They put him on fire. Okay, certain places when they went to they try to go to Africa. Barack Obama tried to go to Africa with that, and then Canvas told Barack Obama, get out of here with that. So you have a lot of people that are you know, approving or co-signing these wickedness in the last day, but you got on the flip side, those that are what? That are against the wickedness in this society. Okay, so we are those here today that sign pride, okay, for the wickedness that's being done in the land. Okay, we got to stand up for what's right. A lot of people, just like with Trump, what about Donald Trump? Donald Trump is standing up for all those white people that want to express racism, but don't have the platform, they don't have the ball, so he's doing it for them. So we here are that same mouthpiece for the Israelites that want to do something, want to say something, but they're scared. Okay, so we gotta have that courage for those that are weary in these last days. Okay, so let's go back to Exodus. Exodus 2 and 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together, and he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smiteth thou thy fellow?
Right, so 2 Hebrews was fighting. He saw the 2 Hebrews, they argued, so he came to them and said, what do you guys do? What's going on? He came to break it up, right? And he said to the one that did the wrong, the one that started the whole beef, why would you want to smite your brethren? Why would you want to fight them? You know, like the priest bring it out. Some people just knew right from wrong. All right. Torah says that we're not to be strikers. All right. We're not supposed to strike one another. All right. Read on.
And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us?
So instead of him hearing what Moses was saying, he said, you ain't prince over us. Don't tell me what to do. Right? Stay out of my business. There was a time we were here breaking up fights outside in the street. And the first thing they want to say, well, who do you think you are? Right? You ain't police. Right? And we supposed to sit back and watch, you know, our fellow brother or sister get whooped and don't do nothing. That's an individual-like mentality. All right? That, oh, I don't care what he's going through. As long as it ain't my people, I don't care what he's doing. That was given to us by a slave master to separate us. But now we can see somebody getting beat down in the street and I'll walk right by. We don't see nothing. Right? But we have no care, compassion for each other. So right here, Moses saw what was going down. So he stepped to him and said, yo, what's going on? Why are you striking your brother? Right? He said, man, you ain't the prince over us. You ain't the police. Right? Read on.
Well, you know, that's the spirit. Because a lot of times our people, we hate to get, you know, told what to do by our own people.
Right.
Because at this point, they think he's an Egyptian. But I bet they went and spoke to any of the other Egyptians like that. So this is, you know, this is a spiritual situation being taken place now. You know, a lot of times we don't like to be told what to do, but we love taking orders from the white man and the other nations. But we got a problem with being told what to do by our own nation. And you know, again, that is a curse, that is a punishment. We gotta let go of that, because a lot of times a person of your own people could be giving you some sound doctrine, okay, something that can help you, but because of your pride and ignorance and because of your hate for your own people, you don't want to listen. You think that anything comes from a white man, other nation, is the gospel. Okay, we got to get out of that. We are our own worst enemy. Okay, so that's why we gotta understand this Bible. Okay, the Bible gives you a clear description of how you walk in wisdom, how you walk in light in a dark time. We are living in a dark time, correct? We're living in a dark time when everything that we used to think was wicked is the norm now. Okay, A homosexual relationship, that's the norm now in this society. Okay, bestiality is the norm now in South Beach. Man, I was driving through, accidentally took a wrong. I had to take back a U-Haul. Ended up going to Wilton Manors, and this guy had on a strap on his rod. I'm like, what the hell? This is what happens when you make a wrong turn. But I mean, they got their own little community, and they just a bunch of weirdos living over there.
Oh boy, yeah, it's rough over there. You don't want to make that wrong turn.
But you know, I was following
the
GPS, so it took me through this route. So I was like,
trust not thy enemy.
That's right.
Huh? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Now this is something that's been going on for a long time. There was some white actor. He's a young guy. He's older now, and he was saying, man, he said one time he said like 5 men was around him trying to get at him. They was looking at him like a piece of steak, like prime ribs. Huh? Yeah. Is he still alive? I know the other guy is dead. I think the other one committed. Yeah, the other one committed suicide. I used to be with. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are so. What's that guy? Home Alone. I mean, he's on so much drugs right now. It's ridiculous. What they're doing, they're trying to, kill the memories of what happened to them in their childhood years. So a lot of them are on drugs, they're on alcohol. But you can't imagine what these children went through. It's like what's that guy Arnold?
Yeah.
He ended up dying bitter. Yeah, Gary ended up dying. He said his mother, his parents stole his money.
And what was the other guy that was here? He was all high on drugs too.
Yeah.
That played his brother.
Todd
Bridges.
But he got
himself together.
He got himself together.
But he been through it, man.
Yeah.
Them young men went through it. You Jake in Hollywood, you finished, man. And white boys get a hold of you, you done.
And the white girl ended up dying. I think she tried to rob a store to get drugs. They were saying that Willis and the white girl, was in a relationship together.
Okay.
They was dealing with each other. You understand? So a lot of this stuff that they coming out now, they look at, well, there was a child star, and you see them in the future where they finish. Because the things that the drugs, the pedophilia, all the stuff they had to go through. You understand? So we see these things reoccurring, because scripture say what? There's nothing new under the sun. So we see the same things happening here today. Okay? So we're reading now where, these two brothers, instead of them thinking Moses as being a righteous person, trying to start, what are you in our business for? You understand? This is the same mentality that our people have today.
Right.
Okay? So it says 14, and he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intended thou to kill me, as thou killed the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known.
Right, so Moses thought nobody saw him deal with that Egyptian, because he buried him in the sand real quick. These guys, we saw what you did, Moses. That's that's Israel, though. They see everything, but they ain't see nothing. They ain't see nothing, but they saw everything. All right? That's how the hood is. So he was in the hood at this point. Said, damn, these cats already know. They're already talking.
That's the first 48.
Right? Right? They ain't seen nothing but saw everything. Right? So they dropped that word on him. He got nervous. He said, oh man, this thing is known. I'm finished. It's gonna get out. Right?
He said, surely them guys get a pack of cigarettes. They telling somebody.
They telling. They're gonna snitch me out.
Heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses.
Right. So now the word got back to Pharaoh that Moses, killed one of his generals, his police officers. So now Pharaoh said, I got to go deal with Moses now. All right.
He sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well.
Right.
Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them,
right,
and watered their flock. And when they came to
so you can kind of tell from these instances what type of man Moses was, right? From these instances, what type of man is Moses? Moses ain't the type to sit back and see wickedness going down and don't get involved. Right? He wasn't a afraid dude. He wasn't scared. He wasn't bashful. He wasn't somebody that was hit. He was the type of dude. He was standing like, yo, what's going on here? Right? And set a situation right just because it's happening near him. Okay? So he's a man that stood up for his people, for righteousness, I would say. Not just for his people, for righteousness, for justice. He was that type of person to stand up. All right? So you can learn a little bit about manhood from Moses. Because as you start to read about Moses throughout the whole of Exodus, you're going to paint a picture different than what they showed you on the TV screen. Charleston Heston and all these people trying to play Moses, right? You're going to have a different idea of Moses as you read about Moses. You're going to see what type of man he was. This man didn't play around. Moses didn't play around. All right? Something was wrong, he would step into it real quick. Okay? A lot of times they're going to challenge Moses. You're going to see he didn't back down. Right? The only person he humbled himself to was the Most High Yah. A lot of people say we got to be humble. Humble to who? We got to humble ourselves to the Father that's in heaven. We got to humble ourselves to every knucklehead we see in the street. Most High. All right? That's why we're able to stand bold in righteousness. A lot of people get that confused with being prideful. Because we stand strong and speak the word of the Most High with a surety. They say, well, you're not being humble. A lot of people got the wrong idea of what humble means. We're humble to the Most High. When he says we're wrong. We stand down. When he says go do this thing, we're humble enough to go do it no matter how we might feel that particular time. Okay? That's humility, right? Not putting your thoughts before the thoughts of the Most High. All right? So Moses was humble to the Father. You're going to see that as he goes on. But he was what? A stern, strong-willed individual when it came to dealing with situations or anything that came to him or around him. He stood up for what was right. All right, let's read on.
17, and the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. Mm-hmm. And when they came to Ruel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come to so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread.
Right, he wanted what? He wanted to what? Reward him, right? Thank him. Say, call that man. Let him come eat bread. He did this great thing for you. Where is he at? Right, read on.
And Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter, and she bare him a son, and called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land.
Right, so what? Moses saw that this man was a good man. He was content to dwell with him. So he said, I'm going to stay here and chill with you. So they became what? Family. How did they become family? Through the daughter, right? They became in-laws. So the father gave Moses one of his daughters and said, listen, take my daughter to wife. And she bare him a son. Okay. Now what? Now they're family. Now they're in-laws. Okay. Right, read on.
But you notice how, our ancestors, how they named their children according to something that, an event, something that happened, something beautiful. Mm-hmm. Now you got people giving names and naming after some rap star or some, foolishness, some actor. You understand? When you're naming a child, that's a heavy matter, when you're giving a name to a child. So, it should be something with meaning, something biblical, not something you name after some rapper or some so-called celebrity. You understand? So again, this Bible is our blueprint showing us how do we do things. You understand? How we, the mindset of the Most High, because we don't see the Most High directly. So how do we know the mindset of the Most High? By reading His Word.
Right.
That's why we constantly got to be in the Scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it says 23, and it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason, and they cried, and their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of the bondage. And the Most High heard their groaning, and the Most High remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob.
Right, so things got so rough in Egypt that the people were crying out to the Heavenly Father for salvation. Okay, they were crying out. All right, a lot of times we pray. Are you crying out for salvation when you pray? Or are you just praying to get this week's rent, get this car payment? All right, go back to work. All right, are we remembering to cry out to get out of here? That's got to be in your prayer. And if it's not in your prayer, the Most High is going to increase the drama in your life until He get that prayer out of us. Okay, we're supposed to be praying to get out of here. We're supposed to be praying to be reestablished in our land. All right, hold on and give me Kings. First Kings. For 8 and 48. No, 48. Right to the point.
1 Kings 8 and 48.
Uh-huh.
And so return unto thee with all their heart and with all their soul.
Come on.
In the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee toward their land,
right,
which thou gavest unto their fathers, the city which thou have chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name.
Right, so we're supposed to be praying towards Jerusalem, in the land of our captivity. Okay, read on.
But also, if we look at, a lot of us should desire to go to our homeland. You understand? Because all through the scriptures, the Most High told you what? To face the east. Okay? But if you can be in the east, okay, it's a greater thing. There's nothing wrong with going. We take trips. A lot of our people, you know, we go to Costa Rica, we go to Brazil, we go all these. And these tickets ain't cheap. A lot of these places, Brazil, $1,000 easy. You understand? None of us go to Europe, go to different places. So why not go to the land of our forefathers? Most High tells us to face the east. You understand? So why not go directly in the east? You know, these are things that we got to look for. And like the minister was bringing out, are we really desiring to leave this place? Or are we trying to get a better job to be here? Mm-hmm. You understand? A lot of us are setting ourselves up to be more successful in this kingdom. When we see that this is a Titanic ship waiting to sink. Okay, I'm not saying that, yes, we got to continue to think about our daily bread, think about tomorrow. We also got to be thinking about our transition into the kingdom of heaven. It is setting up for, hold that 1 minute. Give me, can we finish here? We're gonna
next verse.
Let me just, hold that. Give me Isaiah 64 and 4. The Most High is you know, He has something designed for us, but we got to be willing to accept this thing. Isaiah 64 verse 4.
Isaiah 64 verse 4.
Come on.
For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither have the eyes seen, O Yahweh, besides thee, that what He hath prepared for him that waiteth for Him.
Right. So from the beginning of time, to preserve something for His people. Okay, this is designed from creation. Okay, that the saints going to take the kingdom, we're going to inherit this earth. But we got to want that. Do we really want the kingdom, or we want to stay in America? Okay, do we really want it? Okay, is the Sabbath a delight to our people? No, it's not a delight. Because where's there a lot of people missing today? Okay, it's not a delight. The Most High gave us 6 days for ourselves, and He asked us for 1 day. A lot of us make the 1 day a burden. Why is 1 day a burden? You give 5, 6 days to your boss, right? Okay, for that fiat money at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the Most High has some unmeasurable riches for us, and because we don't see it right away, we're not sure. Okay, we halfway Israelites with it. Okay, so the Most High is going to be halfway when He's giving out those crowns, because there's different crowns that the Most High is giving out. What crown do you desire? Do you just want a crown of wood? Okay, are you just trying to be part of the 1/3? Because there's only one slot under the 1/3, and that's what? The 2/3. Okay, so we got to live our lives at what? That this is our last. Okay, did I do enough work to be worthy for the Most High to have mercy on me? We got to understand that. The power that we serve. The other nations, they would love to be who we are. That's why you understand that they hate us with a passion. Perpetual hatred. And they don't know why. But in their spirit, they know that what? That we are children of the Most High. But do we conduct ourselves that way? We don't conduct ourselves that way, the children of the Most High. Okay, so we gotta constantly be in the scriptures, and not just quoting scriptures, but what? Applying the scriptures to our everyday life. But read that again. Isaiah 64:4.
Isaiah 64, verse 4. For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither have the eye seen, O Yahweh, besides thee, what he has prepared for him that waiteth for him.
Right, so waiting for the Most High being what? Then we gotta be patient. Okay, a lot of times we don't get things when we want it, but it's what? He's on time. Okay, we gotta be patient with the Most High because His time is not our time. He said, "What a day is what? 1,000 years." So don't get weary or double-minded because things don't happen right away when you want it. Okay, but things are going to happen when it's supposed to happen. That's how you build a trust and relationship with the Most High. Then when something happened, you know that what? It was the Most High that did it for you. It wasn't no other person that did it. It was the Most High, Yah. Okay, were you able to complete 4 years of school? A lot of times, some people drop out. But the Most High gave you that courage to complete it. Okay, because there's so many distractions out here. Not only do children face peer pressure, but what? But adults go through peer pressure as well. The scriptures tell you that what? That a wicked woman hates to see a virtuous woman. Or why you gotta listen to your husband? Why you gotta get permission to do that? Okay, why you gotta cook his food? Why you gotta iron his clothes? A wicked woman hates to see a virtuous woman. Bad. Because a lot of these women out here, they're what? Independent women. They want to get paid. Okay? And these things were designed by the white man to bring what? To bring chaos in our homes. But we got to get back in our righteous order. So let's go back to Kings. We were at 1 Kings 8 and 49. Then hear thou their prayer and their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause.
Right, maintain their cause. I mean, that give them what they're praying for. Right, we know.
And forgive thy people that have sinned against thee,
right,
and all their transgressions wherein they have transgressed against thee, and give them compassion before them who carry them captive,
right,
and they may have compassion on them.
All right, come on.
For they be thy people and thine inheritance,
right,
which thou brought forth out of Egypt, and from the midst of the furnace of iron,
right,
that thine eyes may be opened unto the supplication of thy servant, and unto the supplication of thy people Israel,
right,
to hearken unto them in all that they call for thee unto thee.
Right.
For thou didst separate them from among all the people of the earth, to be thine inheritance, as thou spakest by the hand of Moses thy servant.
Right.
When thou brought up our forefathers, out of Egypt, O Yahweh thy power.
Last verse.
And it was so that when Solomon had made an end of praying all this prayer and supplication unto the Most High, he arose from before the altar of the Most High, from kneeling on his knees, with his hands spread up to heaven.
Right. So what he was on his knees praying to the Most High with his hands spread up to the Most High towards Jerusalem. Okay. So this is the prayer that we need to send up so we can be heard. And we want to be praying for what? For the Most High to what? Free us, man. Right? Get these, not that we're looking for more bondage, but we're looking to get out of bondage. Okay? Free us from this bondage towards our land. So the people was groaning and crying towards the Most High as they were in the land of their captivity under all these hard burdens. They were crying out to the Heavenly Father. Okay? That the Most High would hear their prayer. He heard the prayer and remembered the covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and with Jacob. Get up from there. Back to Exodus.
Exodus 2:24. And the Most High heard their groaning. And the Most High remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob.
Right.
And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel, and the Most High had respect unto them.
Right. He had respect unto the children of Israel. Okay. So he chose. What does it mean he had respect? Meaning what? He heard them above everything else, and had respect on what they had to say. Right. So he's going to go what? And maintain their cause. Right. Chapter 3.
Chapter 3. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb.
Right.
And the angel of the Most High appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed.
So it seemed like the bush was on fire, but it wasn't really on fire. Okay? Because if it was really on fire, it would have been consumed. So there was a power, there was an energy, a light that shined through this bush as if it looked like it was on fire. Remember, the author has to write things according to what he knows, right? So we on this side, we're reading it, and he's saying it was a fire. We're going to think, oh no, it was just a flame. It was an energy, it was a light that was in the bush. Okay, and this is what he spoke to. Read on.
And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt.
Right.
And when the Most High saw that, and he turned aside to see, the Most High called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place wherein thou standest is holy ground.
Right.
Moreover, he said, I am the power of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High.
Right. So what? How did he introduce himself to Moses? Who did he say he was? He said he was the what?
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's who you pray to. You pray to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He let Moses know, this is who I am. I am the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You're going to see this throughout all the scriptures as the name of the Most High. It's tied to him as well, but that is the consistent name throughout all the scripture, precept upon precept. I am the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. We have people arguing the name. Some say Ahia, Shahaya, some say Yahweh, Yahushua. Different dialects of Hebrew is understood. But don't make doctrine out of it. For he is the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay. We call upon his name, the mighty Yahweh. Right? We understand that he came to Abraham as Al Shaddai. Even once said unto Moses, Ahia. But he is the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who he is. Everybody understand that? That's his name forever. All right? Is it? No. Is what? What anybody? You lost that for a friend? No. The Messiah is not the Most High. All right? By no means possible. All right? No. No, he's not. Right? He's the first of his creations. Yahweh created Yahweh Shah. Let's get that in the scripture. Get Corinthians.
So you're saying that the Messiah and the Father are the same person? Is that what you're saying, sis? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
The first of all his creations. Where's that at? Well, matter of fact, let's go with that point. Give me Acts 5:29, then I'll find another scripture I'm looking for. Acts 5, verse 29. Maybe 2 Corinthians 2:15. Give me Acts 5:29, and then I'll.
Acts 5:29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, "We ought to obey the Most High rather than men."
Right, read it as written.
Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, "We ought to obey God rather than men."
Right, we ought to obey God rather than man, right? A lot of things that man taught us, but we're going to obey what God said. Right? Read on.
The Most High, the God of our fathers, raised up Jesus.
The God of our fathers did what?
Raised up Jesus.
So the power of our fathers, the God of our fathers raised up Egypt. Raised up Jesus. So how could Jesus be God when God raised up Jesus? Right? That doesn't make sense. Right? The God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, raised up Jesus. Right? Read on.
Whom he slew and hanged on a tree.
Who was slew and hung on a tree. Well, who was crucified. Right? Read on.
Him have the Most High exalted with his right hand.
Him as what?
Have the Most High exalted with his right hand.
Say Most High.
Him have God exalted with his right hand.
Right. We know why I'm reading the way it's written because I want to get clarity. Him God exalted with his right hand. Who's the him? Christ. Who exalted Christ? Yahweh, the Almighty power, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Raised up Yahweh Shah with his right hand. Read on.
To be a prince.
To be what?
A prince.
To be a prince. Right? What's a prince to the king? He's what? That's why he's the son of the Most High. The prince is the son of the king. Who's the king? The Almighty Yahweh. Read on.
To be a prince and a savior.
Right?
For to give repentance to Israel.
To give repentance to Israel. So that's why he died. Christ died to give repentance to Israel. Okay, go ahead.
No, there's no hell. I'm like, I remember reading about hell in Revelation.
Right. Now to say there's no hell is incorrect.
Yeah.
But we don't believe in heaven and hell as is taught in the churches, as what man said heaven and hell is. So we got to define heaven and hell for you according to scripture. What is heaven and hell is the right question, right? Not if it exists, because it clearly exists, because the scriptures talk about heaven and hell. So we know it exists, but what is heaven and hell? Well, let's finish dealing with the Messiah not being the Most High. Let's get that Yonah.
John 6:38.
John 6:38. Okay, that's good. Tazzy one.
That Colossians 1 chapter 15 and Revelation.
I think that's what I'm looking for. Colossians 1 and 15. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
3:14.
And what other?
Revelation 3.
All right, give me Colossians 1 and 15. And what we call St. John?
John 6:38.
6:38.
Listen, that's why we encourage everyone to come on, the Friday classes. The Saturday class is really designed for the Torah portion. Okay, so you can't come one day and want to get, all this knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we don't want to be going too much off the topic. We love the questions, but we have other days designed for those particular questions. Okay, because we want to stay within the Torah. We don't want to go too outside of the topic. Okay, so most high enough things done in order. So in the essence of the Torah portion. Again, the class is every Friday from 8 to 10. Okay, and that day is designed. If you have a particular topic that you want to get clarity on, the Friday would be a good day for that. Okay, we have the Thursday class for the offices. These are the days you can get an extra understanding, but we want to try to stay on track with the 12 portion. Because that's the most I gave the 12 portion for today. So let's try to keep within that frame. Okay. What did you call?
Colossians 1:15.
Colossians 1 and 15.
Right.
Who is the image of the invisible God,
right?
The firstborn of every creature.
Right.
For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him.
Right.
And he is before all things, and by him subsists.
Come on.
And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the firstborn from the dead,
right?
That in all things he might have the preeminence.
Right, come on.
For it pleased the Father that in him should all fullness dwell.
Right, so what? It pleased the Most High that in Christ shall all fullness dwell. On to the Messiah, but he is not the Most High. The Most High is the Father. Right? He come to do his will, the will of the Father, creation of the Father, but he is not the Most High. All right. So we're going to go back just to get clarity on that. All right. One last scripture to get clarity is John 6. St. John 6. Because Christian churches don't have the truth. You are now in the truth, sis. And a lot of what you learned in religion from our parents, from our grandparents, everything, we gotta forsake those things. Now the book is open. The Most High is teaching you, reteaching you about your power, about God, about your role, who you are. Because even in the churches, don't they also teach you that you're black, that you Negroes, right? They teach you that you Gentiles. Right? They teach you a lot of things that's incorrect. So now you're getting corrected on every way, shape, or form. Right? The Most High is bringing correction to his people. All praises. St. John 6 and 38.
St. John 6 and 38. For I came down from heaven,
right,
not to do my own will,
right,
but the will of him that sent me.
The will of who?
Of him that sent me.
So Christ didn't come to do his own will, but the will of him that sent him. Okay? Who sent him? The Father. Okay, so That's the understanding. There's a thousand other scriptures that we can go to prove that Christ is not the Most High. So that's just something that is a doctrine that comes from the church system, but it's not accurate. And the reason why they have that doctrine, because they would have you believe that the white man is God. We went over that last night. He really would want you to believe that he is God. So that's why he paints his picture as Christ and then tells you Christ is God. So there's nothing above him. That's basically what he's trying to teach us. That there's nothing above the so-called white man. All right? That's a white supremacy doctrine right there. So when you go into the Bible and you learn the Bible as it is written, you realize all these concepts are not written in the Holy Scripture. All right? All that was set forth for our oppression. Okay? So we're going back to Exodus. We're in Exodus, the 3rd chapter and the 6th verse. Exodus, the 3rd chapter and the 6th verse.
Exodus 3, verse 6.
Come.
Moreover, he said, I am the power of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob.
Yeah.
And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High. And the Most High said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows.
Come on.
For I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians,
Come on.
and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, and a large unto a land flowing with milk and honey,
Come on.
unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them.
Come on.
Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
Right, so what? He said, I've seen what's going on. You don't think the Most High sees what's happening here? What's going on with our people? He sees everything. All right? He sees everything. All right? The Heavenly Father, hold on, give me Isaiah 66, verse 1. Isaiah 66, verse 1. All right? The Father is not, he's aware of everything that's going on this earth. All right? Nothing's getting past it. Okay. Isaiah 66, verse 1.
Isaiah 66 and 1. Thus saith the Most High, the heaven is my throne.
Right?
The earth is my footstool.
Is my what?
Is my footstool.
Right. The earth is the footstool of the Most High. Stool compared to the throne. It's right in front. Nothing's going on in the earth that the Most High has not observed. The heaven is his throne and the earth is his footstool. All right, read on.
And the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye built unto me?
Right.
And where is the place of my rest?
Right, so he's just calling upon our people to have a place set aside where spirit might dwell. Right, but everything that happened on the earth is happening right before his face. Okay, so he saw what was happening to us in Egypt. Just like he sees what happened to us in America. He sees all the lies and the propaganda. He sees how people being taught that they're Negroes and black and niggers and Caribbean and all these different names, bywords and proverbs that was given to our people. He knows what's going on with the children of Israel. And he also knows, you know, our sins. Okay. He also knows if we're being sincere. He said he tried the reins of the heart. He knows what's going on in our heads. All right. So we have to understand that we got to be righteous inwardly and outwardly. All right. In our actions and in our thoughts. All right. So that the Most High will have mercy upon us. All right. Read on. Go back to our Exodus. We're at 3 and 10.
Exodus 3, verse 10. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto the Most High, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?
Right.
And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou have brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve the Most High upon this mountain.
Right.
And Moses said unto the Most High, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The power of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name?
Right.
What shall I say unto them?
Right.
To Moses, I am that I am.
Right.
And he said, Thus shall say unto the children of Israel,
Right.
I am have sent me unto
Right.
you.
Right. So he said, say to them that I am sent you. All right. Tell them that, what is that in the Hebrew? It means I exist. Tell them the power sent you. Right. Read on.
And the Most High said moreover unto Moses, Thus should I say unto the children of Israel.
He said, moreover, matter of fact, more specifically, say unto them this. Read on.
Yahweh thy power of your fathers,
Right.
the God of Abraham,
Right.
the God of Isaac,
Come on.
and the God of Jacob,
Right.
has sent me unto you.
So that's, read on.
This is my name
This
forever.
is my what?
This is my name
Right.
forever.
This is my name forever. What's his name forever? That's simple. That's his name forever. The power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is my name forever. Okay. So let's not get it confused. That's who we serve. All through scripture, we serve the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
And he just said it in the 6th verse. So he's reiterating it again.
Right.
The 6th verse, we go back to the 6th verse and say what? Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. Okay, so he said it there once, and he's also reiterating again, okay, in this 15th verse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's read again, 15. And the Most High said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, Yahweh thy power of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob have sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto what? All generations.
Unto all generations. I mean, his name never changed. He still is the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to this day. Okay. To this very day, he's still that power that they call upon. Okay. Nothing changed. All right, read on.
Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say unto them, Yahweh thy power of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey.
Right.
And they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come. Elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt, and ye shall say unto him, Yahweh thy power, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me, has met with us, and now let us go. We beseech thee 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Most High our power. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go.
Mm-hmm.
No, not by a mighty hand.
Right.
And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go.
Right. So what? The Most High already had this planned out. He said, you're going to go say this to him, but he's not going to let you go. Because I have something in store for him. So the Most High was a premeditated destruction on Egypt. Okay, he already had this thing all mapped out. He said, yeah, you're going to go back to him, ask him again, and watch how I destroy him again. So the Most High, remember the God we serve is a man of war, okay? So he's ready to what? Show his power in Egypt. All right, we know.
And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when ye go, ye shall not go empty.
Right?
But every woman shall borrow of their neighbor, and of her that sojourneth in her house, jewels of silver and jewels of gold, and raiment. And ye shall put them upon your sons, and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians.
Yeah, and when you leave, you're going to take all their stuff also. Right? So this was premeditated. All right? The things that are going to go down after this point was already planned, set up, strategized. They knew how this was going to go down. So at this point, we're going to take the break. And we're going to continue on to the 6th chapter after the break. So we're going to take a half an hour break. You can stretch your legs, get something to eat, or what case may be. And we're going to reconvene at about 3:25. Okay, Khan? All right.
Now you have Shabbat Shalawam.